Om Shanti, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to another Yoga Small Talk, and we continue with 7 minutes Bhagavad Gita a day. We are reading from chapter 6, the Yoga of Meditation, and we have reached verse 15. Thus, always keeping the mind balanced, the yogi, with the mind controlled, attains to the peace abiding in me, which culminates in liberation. So the word thus is used here to connect to the other parts of the teaching. Meaning in the previous verses, Lord Krishna was giving us the details on how to do the practice. And after all this was given to us, and after we practice, so Swami Shivananda tells us, thus in the manner prescribed in the previous verse. So when we do all those practices, we reach this highest goal. So we start first with attaining peace, and this peace culminates in liberation. So this is how the yoga of meditation, dhyana yoga, takes us to the yoga of knowledge, jnana yoga. So this is very beautiful. And about this very special peace, the peace abiding in me, Lord Jesus said, this is the peace that passes all understandings. Meaning this is peace that goes beyond the mind, beyond the ability to verbalize. And where is this peace to be found? Abiding in me. So this is a peace to be found inside. And here we gain a deeper understanding on why we are constantly told to internalize the senses. Because the real happiness, the real freedom can be found only inside. And one may ask, if this peace passeth all understandings, meaning this is something our mind cannot grasp, this is something that cannot really be explained in words, why is it constantly repeated and we're constantly reminded that yes, what we are receiving is a description, but it's a very partial description and very abstract. The thing itself cannot really be described. And Swami Sarupananda, my teacher, gave a very beautiful explanation for this, and he said, all the time reality gives us false imaginations. Many of our perceptions of what we call our reality are false imagination. And there is an example that sometimes is given is someone comes down the pathway heading towards you, and the day before you had some unpleasant exchange of words, you had some argument. And this person comes down the pathway and his face is a little sour. He's not smiling, he's not greeting, like this. And immediately our mind goes, oh, this person is probably angry with us because of what happened yesterday. And we start building all the castles in the air over our interpretation of the way the person behaved. But in actuality, we learn later, for instance, that this person was not feeling well, or that he received an unpleasant piece of news and was very much absorbed in processing this piece of news. And what we imagined to be the case, and on this imagination we built so many sub-commentaries and interpretations, and sometimes we also directed our conduct. It was all a false imagination. And this is just one example. So all the time we imagine. So the yogis tell us, you're already so used to imagining things, let us give you something else to imagine. Imagine, visualize, start training your mind to live in this reality that is completely peaceful, that is completely filled with knowledge, that is completely filled with bliss. in which, as we will see later, you are not tormented and not swayed by every little thing that happens around you. Let us give you this imagination again and again and again and again until it sets in and the mind starts believing, although it still cannot really reach there, that this state is possible, that something like this can exist, that we don't have to accept grief and sorrow and the distracted mind as is. We can live in a different reality. So this is why we are constantly reminded. And to make this imagination, for us it's an imagination, the mind cannot go there, even more vivid, yogis prescribe satsanga in the company of sages. Usually when we say satsanga, we mean in the company of truth, which is to be with either self-realized people or also, if we cannot find those, people who are interested in the pursuit of the truth, in the spiritual path. But in this particular case, we are told either be around sages, see that it's not just a false imagination, some people are actually in this state, or read about the lives of sages. And for instance, when we read about the lives of so many biographies are there, of Swami Shivananda, of Swami Vivekananda, of the great giants that showed humanity, that a person can transcend what we call the standard existence, can transcend worldliness, can transcend many things that we think are glass ceilings, are limitations we cannot pass. So those people showed us that it is possible. And through that, we can get a reinforcement that this is not also a false imagination. This imagination will take us to the real experience, and the real experience is all blissful and all knowledge. So this is the promise of this verse. And in the next verses, we will read more about the practice and its results. So please join us. Om Shanti.